What is parody? This is Linda Hutchian. She wrote several books on the elements of comedy, including this one, A Theory of Parody. In it, Linda defines parody as an imitation characterized by ironic inversion or repetition with critical distance, which marks difference rather than similarity. For example, we see this ad for an arts college. It is a parody of this public service ad. We see parody in many forms throughout American culture. It began with blackface minstrelsy and vaudeville. We also see it in our films, some of our most popular TV shows, and in our comic strips. Parody didn't just come out of a vacuum. It's a comedic element that has existed in comedy in America for a long time. Its origins can be traced back to African Americans performing for their cohorts on plantations and in Catherine Margaret. In the early 19th century, these soon came to reflect attitudes about white slave owners and the lives that the slaves were forced to endure. When white slave owners saw these performances, they didn't realize that they were parodies of themselves. They soon claimed these performances and created what we now know as blackface minstrelsy. These performances were really parodies of parody.
Uh-oh, now you has done it.
Who that's sitting in that chair?
Who that say who that sitting in that chair?
I say who that's who.
Who's you?
I's Edwin P. Christie, that's who.
You's Edwin, Mr. Christie. I just brushing off your hat, sir, that's all. Just brushing off your hat, sir.
Parody didn't just fade away. It continues to be intermixed through vaudeville as newly transplanted immigrants sought their way into the American identity through performances of their own culture and the cultures of those around them. As each new platform of entertainment emerged, comedy continued to reinvent itself, and parody became a reliable tool to do so, as it engaged with other forms of comedy, like irony, to speak to our identities as Americans. George and Gracie parodied American life as a young married couple. He played the straight man as Gracie delivered the punchlines, and her illogical logic, coupled with his visual reactions, made the show a hit. Parody is often used to punch sideways, in making fun of ourselves and the niches in our culture. We also use it to punch up. For example, at our political figures, at our news reporting, at our celebrities, at our religion, and of course at our 1%.
Thousands of people suffer in America. They're scared and confused, all because they're lost in their own gigantic houses. No one should have to suffer for living in the enormous home they bought or inherited. Please help by donating to the American Gold Cross.
Parody has had an important influence on American culture. It's a tried and true comedic form, and it continues to inform us about who we are and what we care about as Americans.